This is Nightline and I'm Adrian Seet. News making the headlines. Water surge tragedy, 6 bodies found. SAR mission for 4 more to resume Tuesday. And small group of civil servants still persist with the old practices. Thanks for joining us. The number of bodies found on the second day of the search and rescue operation SAR or SAR for victims of the water surge in Jeram Air Puteh, Chukai, Terengganu on Monday is 4 and not 7 as reported earlier. The bodies of the victims were recovered between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. The victims found on Monday comprise 39-year-old Karim Abdullah and 3 more of his children, namely 10-year-old Putri Nuririna Natasha, 6-year-old Muhammad Haziq Zikri and 4-year-old Putri Aryana Umairah. All the bodies were taken to the Sultana Nur Zahira Hospital in Kuala Terengganu for post-mortem, including the bodies of Karim's wife, Aziza Ayi, and her other son, Muhammad Zulkarnain Haikal Karim, aged 40 and 11 respectively, who were found by the public on Sunday. Following the latest discovery, the SAR operation was now focused on finding 4 more victims, namely 18-year-old Putri Balkis Izzati Abdul Rahman, 16-year-old Putri Alia Maisara Karim, 14-year-old Putri Nur Fatin Karim, and 24-year-old Muhammad Fikri Saliman. The SAR operation for the remaining 4 victims was halted at 5 p.m. on Monday due to bad weather and is expected to resume on Tuesday. Terengganu Police Chief Dato' Mazli Mazlan said the search area has been divided into 3 sectors and expanded up to 35 kilometres towards Sungai Kemaman. Dato' Mazli said that besides weather conditions, authorities also face communication problems at the location.
Kita mengalami sedikit masalah komunikasi, yang mana kita punya alat komunikasi tidak boleh berfungsi karena hutan ini agak tebal dan juga berbukit bukau.
A total of 168 personnel from various agencies are involved in the SAR operation. Meanwhile, the father of 40-year-old Aziza Ayi, who died in the water surge tragedy in Jeram Air Puteh waterfall, has accepted the untimely death of his daughter as fate. According to Ayi Johari, when the families went to Jeram Air Puteh, he was not home as he had left for work. Only his wife was present and informed the others about their plan to go for a picnic. Besides Aziza, who was the third of 7 siblings, the 60-year-old Ayi also lost his son-in-law, Karim Abdullah, and 7 grandchildren in the incident. All the victims' bodies who were swept away by the water surge incident were expected to be buried together on Tuesday. Elsewhere in Kelantan, Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad said the preliminary report on the Jeram Air Puteh water surge tragedy is expected to be completed in the near future. He added that the Department of Minerals and Geosciences, JMG, is conducting an initial inspection at the scene and the police are also still investigating the incident.
Spesifik tentang perkara tersebut, kita tunggu siapnya siasatan polis dan tinjauan dari pihak JMG lah.
In the meantime, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah on Monday expressed his condolences to the families of the victims of the water surge tragedy. Also conveying her condolences was the Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Aziza Maimuna Iskandaria. In a post on Istana Negara's social media page, Their Majesties expressed their sadness over the passing and hoped that the family members remained patient and strong during this difficult period. The royal couple also prayed that the souls of the deceased be showered with mercy and be placed amongst those who believe and do righteous deeds. Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim has expressed satisfaction with the overall performance of the Immigration Department staff at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA during his surprise visit to Terminal 1 on Sunday. The Prime Minister, however, noted the existence of a small group of civil servants who still persist with the old practices.
Tentunya saya lihat umpamanya semua kaunter immigration berfungsi. Maknanya majoriti staff migration menjalankan tugas dengan baik. Tetapi seperti mana juga kita sedar dan sering saya tekankan, ada kumpulan kecil yang masih biasa dengan sistem dan amalan yang lama. Saya percaya hal itu hal bidang kuasa SPRM.
Speaking at the Prime Minister's Department's monthly assembly in Putrajaya on Monday, Dato Sri Anwar pointed out that his surprise visit to KLIA was aimed at raising the credibility and integrity of the Immigration Department, which is being publicly criticized over the alleged culture of corruption amongst some of its officers at the country's main gateway, as claimed by Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Sri Tiong Sing recently. The Prime Minister added that it is not right for the whole Immigration Department to be perceived as flawed just because of one bad apple. Dato Sri Anwar revealed that the issue of alleged corrupt practices by civil servants also involved some National Registration Department NRD personnel.
Semalam saya terima yang mungkin maklumat yang mungkin masih disiasat di jabatan lain pendaftaran. Kan kita akan permudahkan bagi orang yang layak mendapat status sama ada kewarganegaraan dan sebagainya. Tapi untuk mendapatkan sijil itu dikenakan lagi bayaran.
Following this, Dato Sri Anwar called for strict action to be taken immediately by heads of departments, as failure to do so would not only tarnish the good image of the government department and the public sector, but also the country. During his speech, Dato Sri Anwar told top government officials to go down to the ground to ensure that everything was operating well. He emphasized that they need to see their respective departments' operations for themselves so that appropriate action could be taken to resolve any problems and improve the situation.
Kerana tidak boleh buat andaian semuanya baik. Tapi mestilah tujuannya baik untuk perbaiki, bukan untuk sekadar mencari salah ataupun mengecam.
During his visit to KLIA on Sunday, he also highlighted that he found only one of the 7 luggage scanners operated by the Customs Department was in operation and wanted the situation rectified immediately. In the meantime, the issue involving Culture, Arts and Tourism Minister Dato Sri Tiong Sing and the Immigration Department will be discussed at Wednesday's Cabinet meeting. Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said he was confident that the issue can be resolved after speaking with Dato Sri Tiong himself.
Permasalahan yang begini saya fikir boleh diselesaikan dengan cara yang baik melalui sistem pentadbiran yang ada, dan hari Rabu nanti kita akan bawa perkara ini ke Kabinet, dan sudah pasti beliau akan menjelaskan duduk perkara ini di dalam mesyuarat Kabinet nanti.
Dato Sri Ahmad Zahid said this to the media after chairing the Rural and Regional Development Ministry's coordination meeting with the Sarawak State Government at Wisma Bapa Malaysia in Kuching, Sarawak on Monday. He also said that he would next speak with Home Minister Dato Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, under whose purview the Immigration Department falls. Previously, it was reported that Dato Sri Tiong had to personally step in to help a Chinese tourist after she was allegedly held up by the immigration officers at KLIA. He said the woman was asked to pay a sum of money to be allowed entry into Malaysia. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC in the meantime has confirmed that they are launching a probe into the allegations of corruption involving immigration officers as raised by Dato Sri Tiong. In another development, Dato Sri Tiong did not show up for his scheduled meeting with the MACC at the agency's headquarters in Putrajaya on Monday. He was supposed to be interviewed together with a female tourist from China over his explosive claim on the alleged culture of corruption at the KLIA after he received a complaint from the woman recently. Reporters had gathered outside the MACC headquarters as early as 8 a.m. However, both the minister and the woman were nowhere to be seen. When contacted, Dato Sri Tiong refused to confirm whether he would meet up with anti-graft investigators. Meanwhile, the Home Ministry will fully cooperate with the MACC to investigate the allegations of corruption by immigration officers in handling foreign tourists at the country's entry points. Its Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the ministry has no objection to the investigation and will extend its fullest cooperation to the anti-graft body.
Kami sudah pun mengadakan perbincangan. Saya sendiri telah mengadakan perbincangan panjang lebar dengan Saudara Tiong. Begitu juga Tan Sri Datuk KSU saya juga mengadakan pertemuan yang sama. Khusus berkenaan dengan apakah fakta kejadian yang berlaku pada hari itu. Saya tak mau tengok lain daripada itu dulu.
Datuk Sri Saifuddin said this to the media after launching the national-level People's Volunteer Corps 51st anniversary celebration in Bukit Selambau, Kedah on Monday. He also said the screening of visitors entering the country by immigration officers is a common practice, which is also a practice by immigration staff in other countries. He added there were cases of visitors given the not to land NTL notice, but the number was very small. The government has been urged to look into the reintroduction of measures to stabilise the declining ringgit as implemented by Bank Negara in 2016. Economist Manukaran Motain said such measures included compelling exporters to convert 75% of their export proceeds into ringgit. According to Manukaran, during the 1998 Asian financial crisis, exporters were required to immediately convert 100% of their export proceeds into ringgit to curb the currency's depreciation. The conversion value was reduced to 75% in 2016 before it was scrapped in 2020.
If they are trading with Singapore, the trading currency must be Sing dollars rather than USD. That kind of thing, then you can de-dollarize the current situation. Okay, so demand for dollar itu akan berkurangan dan serta-merta value of the dollar.
He added that the returns from the sale of $1.5 billion Khazanah national bonds would also be converted to ringgit.
Khazanah itself will receive USD for the sale of the bonds. So the USD they receive must be, the moment they receive, better to convert it into ringgit. When then that part, it will increase the demand for ringgit again. Okay, then you will have the ringgit kukuh.
He also stressed that the demand for the US dollar and other major currencies are currently high due to the increase in interest rates in those countries as compared to Malaysia. Hot FM has edged out its rivals to become the #1 radio station in Malaysia with 3.8 million listeners weekly based on a study by Nielsen Consumer and Media View between January and December last year. According to Media Prima Audio MPA, this was due to the successful holistic transformation of the radio station, including fresh content, new talents, and an updated logo since 2 years ago.
Pendengar purata bulanan yang tinggi juga untuk Hot FM iaitu sebanyak 4.78 juta pendengar setiap bulan. Our digital listenership menunjukkan angka yang menakjubkan iaitu 31.1 juta pendengar setakat Mac 2023. With the data and result yang dicapai oleh Hot FM, kami amat berbesar hati kerana dapat menjadi pilihan pertama pendengar di Malaysia.
The announcement was made at Perdana Kuala Lumpur City Centre on Monday. Meanwhile, another radio station under MPA, Buletin FM, has been rebranded as Cool 101, which will also offer fresher and more thought-provoking content and discussions on current as well as social issues. After this breather, several dead as Zionist regime launches airstrikes on Jenin. Details when we return. We're back with news from the front. At least 9 Palestinians were killed after Israeli forces hit the city of Jenin with drone strikes as part of one of its biggest West Bank operations in 20 years. It was reported that the operation also involved hundreds of troops in gun battles that continued into the afternoon. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed on Monday that at least 8 people had been killed and more than 50 wounded in Jenin, while another man was killed in the city of Ramallah overnight after being shot in the head at a checkpoint. Many of those injured remained in critical condition. The attacks on Monday came amid escalating violence in the West Bank, including the first Israeli drone assault in the area since 2006. Over in Japan, heavy rain pounded the country's southwestern Kyushu region on Monday, causing a bridge to collapse with evacuation orders issued for some 360,000 residents in the city of Kumamoto. Authorities said the violent rain had caused a 37-meter concrete bridge above a small river running through Yamato to collapse. However, there were no reports of casualties. The meteorological agency warned of torrential rain and thunder continuing across the region through to around Tuesday noon and called on residents to be on alert for mudslides and flooding. Evacuation orders have also been issued in 14 municipalities in the prefecture, including the city of Kumamoto, as well as in some municipalities in Fukuoka, Saga, Oita, Miyazaki, and Kagoshima prefectures. Thailand's King Maha Vajiralongkorn inaugurated the opening of Parliament on Monday, setting the stage for an attempt by the Progressive Move Forward Party to form a government after its surprise election win 6 weeks ago. The Move Forward Party will team up in Parliament with the populist heavyweight, the Pheu Thai Party, after the two won the lion's share of the House seats, trouncing parties allied with a royalist military that has controlled government since a 2014 coup. However, underscoring the challenge ahead, Pheu Thai and Move Forward are still at loggerheads over who gets the position of House Speaker, a pivotal post that could determine the passage of flagship legislation and timing of key votes. The alliance, however, is backing Move Forward leader Pita Limjaroenrat to become premier, in which Pita needs 376 votes to secure the post. Spain's right-wing parties have lost some ground to the ruling left-wing coalition led by socialists, PSOE, but remain in the lead ahead of a July 23rd national election. According to polls published on Monday, the Conservative People's Party, PP, and the far-right party, Vox, a potential coalition ally, would still win enough seats for an absolute majority in the 350-member lower house. All polls have found the PP would need support from Vox to form a government. However, the right-wing party's margin over PSOE and Suma, the new far-left grouping, which includes Podemos, has shrunk significantly in the past few days. The PP has led in polls since Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez called a surprise snap election on May 29th after his party and its junior coalition partner Podemos performed poorly in regional and municipal ballots. Six-star display from JDT Sports when Nightline returns. Football, the 2023 Super League. 3 matches took place on Monday night. Terengganu FC recorded a narrow 1-0 victory over Kedah Darul Aman FC, while Selangor FC claimed a 2-1 win over Kuching City FC. At the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, Johor Darul Takzim demonstrated their superiority as they trounced Kuala Lumpur City FC 6-1. A hat-trick from Diogo in the 12th, 35th and 44th minute, as well as a goal each from Muhammad Arif Aiman Hanapi. Safiq Rahim and Akia Rashid gave JDT another 3 points to maintain their lead at the top of the standings with 45 points, 9 points above Selangor. KL City's consolation was contributed by Matko Zirdum in the 54th minute. And now the Brazilian Serie A. Botafogo extended their lead at the top of the standings with a 2-0 win over Vasco da Gama. Botafogo had to wait until the 54th minute to break the deadlock when Luis Henrique finished off a 1-2 play with Tiquinho. It was just seconds before the final whistle when the home side put the result beyond doubt. Carlos Alberto completing a solo run with a curling effort that found the bottom corner of the net. The 2-0 scoreline secured the 3 points for the hosts, who improved to 33 points at the top of the leaderboard and retained the 7 points advantage over second place Gremio. Vasco da Gama meanwhile remained in the 18th relegation place with 9 points after 13 games. Still to come, man remanded over ex-wife's death. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The Election Commission EC will hold a special meeting this Wednesday to discuss important dates for the elections in the 6 states. Its Secretary, Dr. Ikmalruddin Isha, said the meeting followed the receipt of notices of the official dissolution of the Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pulau Pinang, Selangor and Negeri Sembilan state assemblies from their respective state assembly speakers. In a statement on Monday, Dato' Ikmalruddin said the special meeting will be chaired by EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh, who will discuss the important dates for the state elections, such as the dates of the election writ, nomination day, polling day, the electoral roll to be used and other preparations. He also said that a media conference will be held immediately after the special meeting. And a man who stabbed his 42-year-old ex-wife to death at a house in Pasir Tumbuh, Kota Baru, Kelantan, has been remanded for a week. The 51-year-old suspect is believed to have also stabbed himself in the incident, as he sustained serious injuries in the 4 a.m. incident. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun said the suspect tested negative for drugs. It was learned that the victim, Rokiah Ayub, has been renting the house for the past 2 months after their divorce. According to witnesses, they heard an argument between the victim and the suspect last Sunday, believed to be due to the man suspecting his ex-wife of having an affair. The single mother of 3 was then heard screaming and then came out of a room covered in blood before collapsing in the living room. The suspect was detained and the case is now being investigated under the Penal Code for murder. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at this Jordanian man who's giving watermelons a creative makeover by carving different portraits and patterns onto the fruit. With that, I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for watching and stay safe.